My ex-husband brought his new bride to the reunion to flaunt their fertile marriage. Until I arrived with our quadruplets, he never knew about the ballroom, went silent. 200 people stopped mid-conversation. The jazz band kept playing, but nobody was listening anymore. Every eye in that Northwestern University Alumni Center turned toward the entrance, toward me, toward the 4 identical boys standing at my side. Preston Calloway stood in the center of the room, his hand resting on his pregnant fiance's belly. He was mid-sentence, mid-laugh, mid-lie. His expensive suit probably cost more than my monthly rent. His watch caught the chandelier light. He looked successful. He looked happy. He looked like a man who had everything figured out. Then he saw us. I watched the color drain from his face. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. His hand dropped from Vanessa's stomach like he'd been burned. My voice cut through the silence, clear and steady in a way I'd practiced 1,000 times. Sorry we're late, everyone. The boys wanted to see where their daddy and I first met. 4 pairs of hazel eyes stared up at the crowd. Benjamin, Bradley, Brandon, and Brooks, 9 years old, wearing matching navy sweaters. Identical faces. Preston's faces. 4 perfect copies of the man who told everyone I couldn't have children. Vanessa's voice shook. Preston, who is this? He couldn't answer. He was too busy staring at the sons he never knew existed. The sons he'd abandoned before they were even born. A woman near Preston pulled out her phone, comparing something. Those boys look exactly like you did in college, Preston. Exactly. Another voice from the crowd. Wait, didn't you say your ex-wife was infertile? Preston finally found words. Autumn, what are you doing? What is this? I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. I'm telling the truth, Preston. Something you never bothered to do. Now, before I take you back to the beginning of this story, to show you exactly how we got to this moment, I need you to do something for me. If you have ever been lied about by someone who was supposed to love you, if you have ever been abandoned and left to pick up the pieces alone, if you have ever been called broken when you were actually the strongest person in the room, hit that like button right now. Because this story is for you. This story is for every person who was told they weren't enough, who was blamed for someone else's failures, who raised children alone while their ex-partner played the victim. I'm Autumn Hayes, and yes, that man in the expensive suit is my ex-husband. And yes, those 4 beautiful boys are his sons. Sons he's never met. Sons he doesn't even know exist. Sons he abandoned when I was 3 months pregnant because he wanted a fresh start with his young assistant. For 9 years, Preston told everyone I was infertile. For 9 years, he built his success on the foundation of that lie. For 9 years, I stayed silent, raising quadruplets alone, working myself to exhaustion, surviving on my mother's generosity and my own stubborn refusal to give up. But tonight, the lies stop. Tonight, truth walks through the door wearing navy sweaters and carrying the undeniable evidence of Preston's betrayal written in their DNA. Subscribe to Love and Twilights with Dr. Phillips, because we're about to take you on a journey through betrayal, survival, and the kind of justice that only truth can deliver. Drop a comment right now telling me where you're watching from and whether you think I should have stayed silent or exposed the truth. Because what you're about to hear will change how you think about lies, about family, and about what it really means to be strong. Now let me take you back to where this all began. Back to the moment my perfect marriage started crumbling. Back to Chicago 10 years ago when I was a different woman with a different life, and absolutely no idea that my husband was about to destroy everything. It was a Tuesday evening in February. I remember because I'd spent the whole day preparing a presentation for a client meeting. The Chicago skyline glittered outside our downtown apartment windows. Snow fell softly, coating the streets below in white. Inside, our apartment was warm and decorated exactly how I'd always dreamed. Modern furniture, soft lighting, framed photos of Preston and me on our wedding day, on vacation in Mexico, at company events with his arm around my waist. I was 27 years old. I had a marketing degree from Northwestern, a promising career at Hartman & Associates, a handsome husband, and an apartment in the Arena District that made my college friends jealous. From the outside, my life looked perfect. I was making dinner when I heard Preston's key in the lock. 6 o'clock, right on time. I smiled, stirring the pasta sauce. Hey, honey. Dinner's almost ready. He walked into the kitchen. Something in his face made me stop stirring. His jaw was set. His eyes wouldn't meet mine. He still wore his coat. "Autumn, we need to talk." Those 4 words. In every marriage, those 4 words carry weight. But I didn't know yet. I thought maybe he'd had a bad day at work. Maybe a deal fell through. Maybe his boss criticized a project. I turned down the heat on the stove. "Okay, what's going on?" Preston stood in the doorway between the kitchen and living room. He finally looked at me. His expression was cold, distant, like he was looking at a stranger. "I want a divorce." The wooden spoon fell from my hand. It clattered against the tile floor, splattering red sauce. I stared at him. "What?" "I'm not happy. This marriage isn't working. I want a divorce." My mind couldn't process the words. We'd been married for 2 years, together for 3 before that, 5 years total. We'd just celebrated our anniversary in January. He'd given me diamond earrings. We'd made love that night. He'd told me he loved me. "Preston, what are you talking about? We're fine. We're happy." He shook his head. "You're happy." "I'm not. I haven't been for a while." I moved toward him, my hands reaching out. He stepped back. That small movement, that step away from my touch, it broke something inside me. "What happened? What changed? Please, talk to me. Whatever's wrong, we can fix it." "I don't want to fix it." His voice was flat, emotionless. "I've already made up my mind, Autumn. I'm moving out this weekend." "This weekend?" The room tilted. I grabbed the counter for support. "Preston, you can't just decide this alone. Marriage is a partnership. We need to talk about this. We need counseling." "I don't want counseling. I want out." "Is there someone else?" The question came out as a whisper. He paused. That pause told me everything. "Yes, I've met someone else." The pasta sauce bubbled over on the stove. Neither of us moved to turn it off. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. "Who? That doesn't matter." "It matters to me." "Who is she, Preston?" "Vanessa. She works at the firm." "Vanessa? His assistant?" "The 22-year-old who brought him coffee and organized his schedule. The girl I'd met at company Christmas parties and smiled at because I thought she was harmless." "Your assistant?" I laughed. It came out bitter and broken. "You're leaving me for your assistant." "That's so cliché, Preston. Don't make this ugly, Autumn. You're destroying our marriage and I'm making it ugly?" My voice rose. "We have a life together. We have an apartment. We have friends. We have plans." "Your plans. Always your plans." He finally showed emotion. Anger. "You wanted to wait for kids. You wanted to build your career first. You wanted financial stability. Everything was always on your timeline, never mine. We agreed to wait 2 years. We've barely been married that long. I'm 32 years old. I want kids now. Vanessa wants kids. She's ready to give me a family." The truth hit me like a punch. This wasn't about happiness. This was about children. About his timeline. About his needs overriding everything else. "So that's it? I wanted to be responsible and you're punishing me by having an affair." "I'm not punishing you. I'm choosing someone whose priorities align with mine." The smoke detector started beeping. The pasta sauce had burned, filling the kitchen with acrid smoke. I mechanically turned off the stove, opened a window. The February cold rushed in. Preston was already walking to the bedroom. I followed him, my legs somehow still working despite the shock. "When did this start? The affair?" He pulled a suitcase from the closet, started throwing clothes into it. "Does it matter?" "Yes, it matters." "When?" 6 months ago. 6 months. Half a year of lies. Half a year of him coming home to me while sleeping with her. Half a year of me being the fool who believed her marriage was solid. I watched him pack. Designer suits, expensive watches, the cologne I'd bought him for his birthday. Every item he touched felt like another betrayal. "Preston, please, can we just slow down? Can we take a week to think about this?" "I've been thinking about it for 6 months, Autumn. My mind's made up. What about our wedding vows? For better or worse?" He zipped the suitcase, looked at me with something that might have been pity. "I was wrong to marry you. We want different things. You'll be better off without me." He walked past me, suitcase rolling behind him. At the door, he paused. "My lawyer will contact you about the divorce paperwork. Please don't call me. I need space." "Don't call you." "Preston, we're married." "Not for long." The door closed. I stood in our apartment, smoke still hanging in the air, pasta sauce hardening. On the floor, My entire life shattered in the span of 20 minutes. I didn't cry that night. I was too shocked. I cleaned the kitchen mechanically, threw away the burned sauce, washed the pot, wiped the floor, put away the dishes. Normal tasks for an abnormal situation. Then I walked to the bedroom. The closet door stood open. Empty hangers where his clothes had been. Empty space on the dresser where his wallet and keys usually sat. He'd taken his pillow. That's when I broke. I sat on our bed, on the side that was still mine, and I cried until I had no tears left. The next morning, I called in sick to work. I couldn't face the office. Couldn't face the possibility of seeing Vanessa. I stayed in bed, staring at the ceiling, trying to understand how my marriage ended so suddenly. My phone rang throughout the day. Preston's name on the screen. I answered every time, desperate. Preston, this is my attorney Daniel Morrison, calling on behalf of Preston Calloway. A stranger's voice. Professional. Cold. Mr. Calloway has asked me to handle all further communication regarding your divorce. Please do not contact him directly. I'm his wife. I have a right to talk to him. Mr. Calloway has made his wishes clear. All communication should go through my office. He rattled off an email address, a phone number, then hung up. I tried calling Preston's cell. It rang once, then went to voicemail. I tried again, straight to voicemail. He'd blocked me. I tried texting. Preston, please. We need to talk. The message turned green. Undelivered. He'd blocked my number. Panic set in. I called his office. Hartman and Associates, how may I direct your call? Preston Calloway, please. May I ask who's calling? His wife. Autumn. A pause. 1 moment. I waited. 5 minutes. 10. The receptionist came back on the line. I'm sorry, Ms. Hayes. Mr. Calloway is unavailable. Can you tell him it's urgent? He's aware you're calling. He's asked me to direct you to his attorney. They were all in on it. The whole office. Everyone knew my husband was leaving me before I did. I hung up and threw my phone across the room. It hit the wall, but didn't break. For a week, I lived in a fog. I went to work. I came home. I ate cereal for dinner because cooking reminded me of that night. I slept on the couch because the bed smelled like him. Preston's lawyer sent divorce papers. No fault dissolution of marriage. Division of assets. He was being generous, the papers said. I could keep the apartment for 3 months while I found a new place. We'd split our savings 50-50. He wanted nothing but his personal belongings. I should have felt grateful. Instead, I felt discarded. Like our entire marriage was so meaningless to him that he'd just pay me off and walk away. I signed the papers in late February. The divorce would be final in 60 days. 60 days to erase 5 years together. My best friend Harper drove up from her new place in the suburbs when I called her crying. She found me on the couch, still in pajamas at 3 in the afternoon, empty ice cream containers on the coffee table. Oh, honey. She sat beside me, pulled me into a hug. I'm so sorry. He just left, Harper. Like I meant nothing. He's an idiot. Maybe I am. Maybe I should have wanted kids right away. Maybe I was too focused on my career. Harper grabbed my shoulders, made me look at her. Stop. Do not blame yourself. Preston is a grown man who made vows to you. He broke those vows. He had an affair. He's the villain here, not you. Then why do I feel like I failed? Because you have a heart. Because you loved him. Because you're human. She squeezed my hands. But you're also strong. You're going to survive this. I nodded, but I didn't believe her. I felt broken, unwanted, discarded. I had no idea that in 3 weeks, everything would change again. That I'd discover something that would make Preston's abandonment even crueler. Something that would alter the course of my entire life. It started with nausea. I blamed it on stress. Divorce, nausea. Heartbreak, nausea. I'd lost my appetite anyway. But the nausea persisted. Then came the exhaustion. I was sleeping 10 hours a night and still waking up tired. Then my period didn't come. I sat on the bathroom floor of my apartment, staring at the calendar on my phone. I was 5 days late. I was never late. There had been one night. One last night before Preston left. We'd had a rare good evening. We'd watched a movie. Had wine. Made love. It was tender and sweet, and I thought maybe things were okay between us. 2 days later, he asked for a divorce. I walked to the pharmacy on the corner. Bought 3 pregnancy tests. The cashier smiled at me. I couldn't smile back. In my bathroom, I took all 3 tests. I couldn't wait the recommended 3 minutes. I paced the tiny space, my heart hammering. I looked at the first test. 2 lines. The second test. 2 lines. The third test. 2 lines. I sat on the edge of the bathtub and stared at the evidence. Pregnant. I was pregnant with Preston's baby. A strangled laugh escaped my throat. The timing was almost funny. Almost. He'd left me because I wasn't ready for children. And now I was carrying his child. The universe had a cruel sense of humor. I tried to call him. Blocked. I tried to text. Undelivered. I called his office. I need to speak to Preston Calloway. It's an emergency. I'm sorry. He's asked not to be disturbed. This is his wife. It's urgent. He's in a meeting. Then interrupt the meeting. Tell him Autumn needs to talk to him right now. A long pause. Please hold. I waited. My hand shook holding the phone. This changed everything. He needed to know. Whatever was happening between us, he had a right to know about his child. The receptionist came back. I'm sorry. Mr. Calloway says to please contact his attorney with any questions. Did you tell him it was urgent? Yes, ma'am. And he still won't talk to me? I'm very sorry. I hung up. Tried his cell again. Voicemail. Left a message. Preston, it's me. I know you don't want to talk, but this is important. Really important. Please call me back. Please. He didn't call. I tried the next day. And the next. And the next. I left 17 voicemails over 2 weeks. He never responded. I sent emails to his work address. They bounced back. Blocked. I was 6 weeks pregnant and completely alone. Harper came over when I told her. Oh my God, Autumn. I don't know what to do. He won't talk to me. I can't tell him. Have you tried going to his apartment? I don't know where he lives now. Harper pulled out her phone, did some searching. I have a friend who knows Vanessa. Let me see what I can find out. 2 days later, Harper had an address. A luxury building in the Gold Coast neighborhood. Of course, Preston had upgraded. We drove there on a Saturday morning. The doorman stopped us in the lobby. Can I help you? I need to see Preston Calloway. Apartment 42B. Is he expecting you? No, but it's important. The doorman picked up the phone, pressed some buttons. Mr. Calloway, there's a woman here to see you. Pause. She says her name is Autumn. Longer pause. The doorman's expression changed. Professional neutrality replaced by awkward discomfort. Mr. Calloway says if you contact him again, he'll file a restraining order. The words hit me like a slap. A restraining order? I'm his wife. He was very clear, ma'am. I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Harper grabbed my arm. Come on, let's go. On the sidewalk outside, I bent over, hands on my knees, trying to breathe. He threatened a restraining order. Harper, I'm pregnant with his baby, and he threatened a restraining order. He's a coward. Harper's voice shook with rage. He's a pathetic, selfish coward. What do I do? How do I tell him if he won't let me near him? Maybe you don't tell him. I looked at her. This is his child. This is your child. Your body. Your choice. And Preston has made it very clear he wants nothing to do with you. But he has a right to know. Does he? He abandoned you. He's threatening legal action if you contact him. He's blocked every form of communication. At what point do you accept that he's made his choice? I straightened up, wiped my eyes. I need to try one more time. Harper drove me to Hartman & Associates on Monday during lunch, the building where Preston and I had both worked, where we'd met at a company retreat 5 years ago, where we'd fallen in love over late-night projects and coffee runs. Security stopped me at the elevator. Badge, please. I don't work here anymore. But I need to see Preston Calloway. Is he expecting you? No, but it's urgent. The security guard made a call. I saw him glance at me while talking quietly into the phone. He hung up. I'm sorry, ma'am. Mr. Calloway has asked that you leave the building. Can you just tell him I need 5 minutes? 5 minutes to tell him something important? He was very clear. If you don't leave, I'll have to escort you out. Other people in the lobby were staring now. Former colleagues. People I'd worked with. They whispered to each other, watching my humiliation. Harper tugged my arm. Autumn, let's go. Please, I said to the guard. Please just tell him his wife needs to talk to him. Ma'am, I don't want to call the police, but I will. Tears streamed down my face. I let Harper lead me out of the building. On the street, I couldn't stop crying. He won't let me tell him. He's made himself completely unreachable. Harper held me while people walked past, while the city moved around us, while my world fell apart. That night, I called Preston's parents. Robert and Diane Calloway lived in a beautiful house in Oak Park. I'd had dinner with them dozens of times. They'd welcomed me into their family. Diane had helped me pick out my wedding dress. Robert answered, "Hello? Mr. Calloway, it's Autumn." Silence. I know Preston doesn't want to talk to me, but I need to reach him. It's about something important. Autumn. I'm very sorry about the divorce, but Preston's made his wishes clear. He needs space. I understand, but this is urgent. I need to tell him something. What is it? I hesitated. Should I tell his father first? Would that help, or make things worse? I'd rather tell Preston directly. If it's about the divorce settlement, you need to talk to his lawyer. It's not about that. It's personal. Robert's voice cooled. Autumn, Preston is starting a new chapter in his life. I think it's best if you respect his boundaries and move forward with yours. Please, just ask him to call me. One phone call. I'll pass along the message. His tone said he wouldn't. He hung up. I never heard from Preston. 3 days later, I got a call from Robert's number. Hope surged through me. Maybe Preston had reconsidered. Hello? Autumn, this is Diane. Her voice was tight, uncomfortable. Robert told me you called. Yes, I need to talk to Preston. Honey, I don't know what this is about, but Preston's asked us not to facilitate contact between you two. The divorce is hard enough. Diane, I'm pregnant. The words tumbled out. I hadn't meant to tell her, but I was desperate, alone, terrified. Silence stretched across the line. Oh. Her voice changed, became smaller. Does Preston know? I've tried to tell him. He won't talk to me. He's blocked my number. He threatened a restraining order. I don't know how else to reach him. More silence. Diane, this is his baby. He has a right to know. When she spoke again, her voice was careful, measured. Autumn, I'm going to be honest with you. Preston is very happy with Vanessa. They're building a life together. If what you're saying is true, this will complicate things. My hand tightened on the phone. Complicate things? This is his child. Are you certain the baby is Preston's? The question felt like a betrayal. Of course I'm certain. I haven't been with anyone else. It's just that the timing is very convenient. Right after he asked for a divorce, suddenly you're pregnant. I found out 3 weeks after he left. I didn't plan this. What do you want, Autumn? Money? I felt sick. I want him to know he's going to be a father. That's all. Diane sighed. I'll tell him. But Autumn, I can't promise he'll respond. He's made his choice. Just tell him, please. She hung up. I never heard from Preston, or Diane, or Robert. They all closed ranks around him, protecting their son from the inconvenient truth of his abandoned wife carrying his child. I was 8 weeks pregnant, completely alone, when I made the appointment with my doctor. The office was cheerful. Pastel walls, magazines about parenting, pregnant women in the waiting room with their partners, their mothers, their support systems. I sat alone. When they called my name, I followed the nurse to an exam room. She took my blood pressure, asked about symptoms, gave me a gown. The doctor will be right in for your ultrasound. I changed into the gown and lay on the exam table. My hands rested on my still flat stomach. There was a baby in there, Preston's baby, a piece of the man who wouldn't even take my phone calls. Dr. Williams came in. She was 50, kind-eyed, efficient. Autumn, good to see you. Let's take a look at this baby. She squeezed gel on my abdomen. Cold, she pressed the ultrasound wand against my skin. The screen flickered to life. At first, I couldn't make sense of what I was seeing. Gray shapes, shadows. Then Dr. Williams went very still. What? She moved the wand, pressed different areas. Her expression shifted from casual to focused. Is something wrong? My voice shook. I'm seeing multiple gestational sacs. Multiple? What does that mean? She turned the screen toward me, pointed to dark circles on the monitor. 1, 2, 3, 4. She looked at me. Autumn, you're carrying quadruplets. The room tilted. I'm sorry, what? 4 babies. Quadruplets. That's not possible. It's very rare. But yes, you're definitely carrying 4. I stared at the screen. 4 circles. 4 babies. 4 heartbeats. How did this happen? We weren't doing fertility treatments. Spontaneous quadruplets are extremely rare, about 1 in 700,000 pregnancies. But they do occur. 4 babies. I was going to have 4 babies. Alone. No husband. No support. No idea how I'd afford diapers for 1 baby, let alone 4. Are they healthy? My voice came out as a whisper. So far, yes. All 4 have strong heartbeats. But I won't lie to you, Autumn. This is a high-risk pregnancy. Multiple births come with complications. You'll need careful monitoring. Can I carry 4 babies to term? We'll do everything we can to help you, but you'll need to be prepared for bed rest, possible hospitalization, early delivery. These babies will likely spend time in the NICU, neonatal intensive care, tiny babies in plastic boxes hooked to machines. How much will this cost? Dr. Williams looked at me with sympathy. Do you have insurance through your employer? I quit my job after the divorce. I've been freelancing. There are programs that can help. Medicaid, WIC. We'll connect you with a social worker. Government assistance, food stamps, the things I'd never imagined needing. Do you have family support? The doctor asked. My mother, Ruth. She lived in Madison, Wisconsin. We talked every few weeks, but I hadn't told her about the pregnancy yet. My mother, I'd recommend reaching out to her. You're going to need help. After the appointment, I sat in my car in the parking lot. 4 babies. 4. I couldn't wrap my mind around it. I pulled out my phone, tried one more time to call Preston. Voicemail. Preston, it's me. I know you don't want to hear from me, but I went to the doctor today. I'm pregnant, not just pregnant. I'm carrying quadruplets, 4 babies, your babies. Please, please call me back. He didn't. I drove back to my apartment, sat on the couch, stared at the ultrasound pictures Dr. Williams had given me. 4 grainy shapes. 4 lives, depending on me. I called my mother. Sweetheart, how are you? Ruth's voice was warm, comforting. Mom, I need to tell you something. What's wrong? You sound upset. Preston left me. We're getting divorced. Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. When did this happen? 2 months ago. He's with someone else. Someone from work. I heard Ruth's sharp intake of breath. That bastard. There's more, Mom. What? I'm pregnant. I just found out. I tried to tell Preston, but he won't talk to me. He's blocked me everywhere. Pregnant? Oh, Autumn. And it's not just 1 baby. It's quadruplets. 4 babies. Silence. Long enough that I thought the call dropped. Mom? I'm here. I'm just processing. 4 babies? 4. And Preston won't talk to you. He threatened a restraining order if I contact him again. I heard movement on her end. Doors closing. Then Ruth's voice, firm and clear. Pack your things. You're coming home. Mom, I can't ask you to. You're not asking. I'm telling. You're pregnant with 4 babies and you're alone in Chicago. You're coming home to Madison. We'll figure this out together. Tears streamed down my face. I don't want to burden you. You're my daughter. You could never be a burden. How soon can you pack? I looked around the apartment. The place Preston had left me. The place filled with memories of our failed marriage. I can be ready in a week. I'll drive down and help you move. You don't have to. Autumn, stop. You're coming home. End of discussion. For the first time in 2 months, I felt a tiny spark of hope. I wasn't completely alone. I had my mother. 1 week later, Ruth arrived in a rental truck. She was 62 years old, gray hair cut short, strong arms from years of nursing. She took one look at me and pulled me into a hug. Oh, baby girl. Look at you. I'd lost weight despite the pregnancy. Dark circles under my eyes. I'd been living on crackers and ginger ale, the only things that didn't make me nauseous. Let's get you home, Ruth said. We packed my life into boxes. Ruth took charge, efficient and focused. She wrapped my dishes, folded my clothes, packed my books. She didn't cry over the wedding photos, just packed them in a box labeled storage. The landlord let me out of my lease early when I explained the situation. I think he felt sorry for me, the abandoned pregnant wife. We loaded everything into the truck. I took one last look at the apartment, the place where Preston had asked for a divorce, the place where my life had fallen apart. Then, I got in the truck with my mother and left Chicago behind. Madison, Wisconsin was smaller than Chicago, quieter. Ruth's house was a modest, 2-bedroom ranch in a safe neighborhood. She'd lived there for 30 years since my father died when I was 7. She set me up in my old bedroom, my childhood bed, posters from high school still on the walls. It felt like going backward, like failure. Ruth saw my face as I looked around the room. "This is temporary," she said. "Just until you get on your feet. I'm about to have 4 babies, Mom. I don't know when I'll get on my feet." She sat on the bed, patted the space next to her. I sat. "You're going to survive this autumn. I know it doesn't feel like it right now, but you're stronger than you think." "I don't feel strong. Strength isn't always loud. Sometimes it's just getting up every day and doing what needs to be done. You've already survived Preston leaving. You've already survived his rejection. You're going to survive this too." I wanted to believe her, but I was terrified. The pregnancy got harder. At 12 weeks, I started showing. At 16 weeks, my belly was huge. 4 babies took up a lot of space. Dr. Williams referred me to a maternal fetal medicine specialist in Madison, Dr. Patricia Brennan. She specialized in high-risk pregnancies. Ruth drove me to every appointment, sat in the waiting room, held my hand during ultrasounds. At 20 weeks, Dr. Brennan gave me difficult news. "Autumn, your body is struggling. Your blood pressure is elevated. You're showing signs of preeclampsia. I'm putting you on modified bed rest." What does that mean? It means limited activity, no work, no stress, lots of rest. I work from home. I'm a graphic designer. I can do that from bed. Dr. Brennan shook her head. "Minimal work. Your body needs to focus all its energy on carrying these babies as long as possible. Every week they stay inside, you increases their chances of survival." Survival. The word hung heavy. At 24 weeks, modified bed rest became complete bed rest. "You need to stay horizontal as much as possible," Dr. Brennan said. "Bathroom breaks only. No stairs, no cooking, no cleaning." I became a prisoner in my childhood bedroom. Ruth brought me meals on trays. Harper drove up from Chicago every weekend, keeping me company, bringing me projects to work on. But mostly, I lay in bed. My belly grew enormous. My back ached constantly. My feet swelled. I couldn't sleep comfortably. The babies moved constantly, 4 sets of limbs jabbing me from the inside. I talked to them, each one. "You're Benjamin," I'd say, touching the upper right side of my belly where I felt the most kicks. "You're strong. You're going to be a fighter." "You're Bradley," touching the left side. "You're calm. You're going to be my peaceful one." "You're Brandon," touching low on the right. "You're active. You're going to be my athlete." "You're Brooks," touching low on the left. "You're gentle. You're going to be my sweet boy." I had no way of knowing if I was right, but naming them made them real, made this impossible situation feel manageable somehow. Ruth worked double shifts at the hospital to pay for everything. The medical bills were piling up despite Medicaid. Special formula for multiples. 4 cribs, 4 car seats, 4 of everything. Harper organized a baby shower in Chicago. She invited my old friends, people from Hartman and Associates, people who knew Preston. Only 3 people came. Harper tried to hide her disappointment, but I saw it. Preston had poisoned the well, told everyone I was difficult, told everyone the divorce was my fault. People took his side, but those 3 friends brought gifts, practical things, diapers, wipes, onesies. They told me they were sorry, that they should have reached out sooner. It was something, small but something. At 30 weeks, I woke up in pain. Contractions, regular and strong. "Mom," I called out. Ruth came running, took one look at me and grabbed her keys. "We're going to the hospital." The next 12 hours were a blur. Doctors, nurses, monitors. They gave me medication to stop the contractions. It worked. The babies stayed put. But Dr. Brennan was firm. "You're not leaving the hospital. You'll stay here on bed rest until delivery." So I spent the next 2 weeks in a hospital room. Ruth visited every day. Harper came when she could. But mostly, I was alone with my thoughts and my fears. At 32 weeks, my water broke. All 4 sacks. The babies were coming. Call my mom, I told the nurse. She's on her way. The contractions started. Fast and hard. Dr. Brennan appeared. We're doing an emergency C-section. These babies need to come out now. They wheeled me to the operating room. Ruth appeared in scrubs, allowed to be present. She held my hand while they put up the surgical drape. You're going to be fine, Ruth said. You're going to meet your boys. I couldn't feel the cutting. Just pressure. Tugging, then a thin, reedy cry. Baby A, someone said. 3 pounds, 4 ounces. Another cry. Baby B, 3 pounds, 7 ounces. Another. Baby C, 3 pounds, 2 ounces. Another. Baby D, 3 pounds, 5 ounces. 4 cries. 4 babies. 4 sons. They held them up briefly. Tiny. So tiny. Red and wrinkled. Then, the NICU team took them. I started crying. Are they okay? They're breathing on their own, Dr. Brennan said. That's a very good sign, but they'll need support. They wheeled me to recovery. Ruth stayed with me. You did it, sweetheart. 4 healthy boys. I want to see them soon. Let the NICU team get them stabilized. It was 6 hours before they let me see my sons. Ruth wheeled me into the NICU. 4 isolates in a row, each with a tiny baby inside. Baby a Benjamin. 3 pounds, 4 ounces, sandy blonde hair, hazel eyes when he opened them. So small my whole hand covered his body. Baby B Bradley. 3 pounds, 7 ounces. The biggest. Alert eyes. Strong grip when I touched his hand. Baby C Brandon. 3 pounds, 2 ounces. The smallest. Delicate. Beautiful. Baby D Brooks. 3 pounds, 5 ounces. A tiny dimple in his chin. Preston's dimple. They were all Preston. His face 4 times over. Same eyes. Same nose. Same chin. Undeniable proof of paternity. I sat in a wheelchair between the isolates and cried. Happy tears. Scared tears. Overwhelmed tears. They're perfect, Ruth whispered. They are. Preston has no idea what he's missing. I touched each isolate. His loss. The boys stayed in the NICU for 6 weeks. 6 weeks of monitors beeping, feeding tubes, weight checks, breathing support. Slowly, they grew stronger. I was there every day. Ruth drove me. I'd sit between the isolates, talking to my sons, learning their different cries, their different personalities. Benjamin was the fighter. Reached milestones first, off the breathing support first, gaining weight fastest. Bradley was the calm one. Steady heartbeat, rarely cried, easy. Brandon was sensitive, reacted to every sound, needed extra soothing. Brooks was the charmer. Nurses loved him, made faces, already knew how to work a room. Finally, at 6 weeks old, Dr. Brennan gave the news. They're ready to go home. Home, Ruth's small house, 4 babies, 1 exhausted mother, 1 saint of a grandmother. We brought them home on a sunny May morning. 4 car seats barely fit in Ruth's van. We drove slowly, carefully, like we were transporting explosives. At the house, Ruth had set up 4 cribs in my bedroom, donated from a church group, 4 mobiles, 4 changing stations. We brought the boys inside, placed each one in their crib. They looked so small in the big cribs, so fragile. That first night home was chaos. 4 babies eating every 3 hours, diaper changes constantly. No sleep. Ruth and I worked in shifts. She'd take midnight to 3. I'd take 3 to 6. Then repeat. I was surviving on adrenaline and love. Harper came that first weekend, brought more supplies, held babies while I showered. It was the first shower I'd taken in 3 days. How are you doing? She asked. I looked at my 4 sons. I'm terrified. I'm exhausted, but I'm also happier than I've been in months. They're beautiful, Autumn. They are. Have you tried to tell Preston again? I shook my head. He made his choice. These are my boys. But part of me still hurt. Still wondered if he'd care if he knew. Still hoped maybe someday he'd want to meet his sons. The first 3 years were the hardest years of my life. 4 babies became 4 toddlers. Walking, talking, getting into everything. The house was never clean. I was never rested. Money was always tight. Ruth worked until she couldn't anymore. Retirement at 65. Her savings depleted from helping me. I built my graphic design business slowly, working during nap times, working after the boys went to bed, taking any job I could get. $50 for a logo, 100% for a website design. Every penny mattered. The boys started preschool at 3, same class, identical faces. Teachers struggled to tell them apart, but their personalities made them distinct. Benjamin, the leader, always helping the other kids. Bradley, the athlete, fastest runner, best at games. Brandon, the artist, drawing constantly, creative. Brooks, the comedian, making everyone laugh. Popular. We survived, day by day, month by month, year by year, and Preston had no idea any of them existed. Until now. Until tonight. Until I walked into that reunion with our 4 sons and shattered his carefully constructed lies. But I'm getting ahead of myself again. Let me tell you about Preston's life during those same 9 years. Because while I was raising our sons alone, he was building an empire on the foundation of abandonment and lies. Preston moved into his Gold Coast apartment with Vanessa the week after he left me. The apartment had floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Lake Michigan, 2 bedrooms, marble bathrooms, a kitchen they never used because they ate out every night. Vanessa quit her assistant job. Preston didn't want his girlfriend working for him. Too complicated. He got her a position in the social media department. Better pay, different floor, professional boundaries. They were happy. Or Preston told himself they were happy. Vanessa was easy, uncomplicated. She didn't question him, didn't challenge him, didn't want to wait for anything. When he told her he wanted kids right away, she agreed immediately. "I'd love to have your baby," she said, her hand on his chest. They were in bed, late night, the city lights making patterns on the ceiling. "Really? You're only 22. I know what I want, and I want a family with you." Preston felt validated. See, this is what Autumn should have said. This is what a real partner does. Agrees, supports, says yes. They tried for 6 months. Nothing happened. Vanessa worried. "Maybe we should see a doctor." "Let's give it more time," Preston said. He didn't want to admit the possibility that maybe the problem wasn't Autumn. Maybe it was him, but after a year, still nothing. Vanessa made an appointment with a fertility specialist. The tests came back clear. Vanessa was fine. Preston's count was fine. No medical reason they couldn't conceive. "Sometimes it just takes time," the doctor said. "Keep trying. Stay relaxed." Another year passed. Preston threw himself into work. Promotions came. Senior account manager, director of client relations. His salary climbed. 6 figures. Then deeper into 6 figures. He leased a BMW. Bought expensive suits. Took Vanessa on vacations to Cabo, to Paris, to Tokyo. They posted photos on Instagram. Perfect couple. Perfect life. But still no baby. At dinner parties, friends asked, "When are you two having kids?" Preston had his answer ready. Practiced. Smooth. "We're trying. My first wife couldn't conceive, so I'm hopeful it'll happen with Vanessa. Just taking time." The lie was easy. Autumn couldn't have children. That's why their marriage failed. Everyone believed it. Everyone sympathized. Vanessa heard the lie enough times that she started believing it too. The problem was Autumn, Preston's first wife. The infertile one. "I'm so glad you found me," Vanessa said one night. "I'm going to give you the family you deserve." Preston kissed her. Felt smug. Yes, he'd traded up. Better woman. Better future. Finally, after 3 years of trying, Vanessa's pregnancy test came back positive. Preston was ecstatic. He called his parents immediately. "Dad, you're going to be a grandfather. Vanessa's pregnant." Robert Calloway's voice boomed through the phone. "That's wonderful news, son. Congratulations." "Thanks, Dad. I'm finally getting the family I always wanted." They didn't talk about Autumn. Nobody did anymore. She was the past. Erased. Forgotten. Preston proposed to Vanessa that night. 3-carat ring, bended knee, the whole production. "Marry me. Let's do this right. Let's be a real family." Vanessa cried happy tears. Yes. Yes, of course, yes. They planned a spring wedding. After the baby came, Preston wanted Vanessa in a white dress, not a maternity gown. Everything was falling into place. Successful career, beautiful fiancé, baby on the way. The life he deserved. When the Northwestern reunion invitation arrived, Preston saw an opportunity. We should go, he told Vanessa. They were having breakfast in their upgraded apartment. 3 bedrooms now, preparing for the baby. Your college reunion? Vanessa touched her 7-month belly. I'll be huge. You'll be beautiful. And I want people to see us, see what I have now, see how far I've come. Vanessa smiled. You want to show me off? I want to show off our life, our success, our happiness. Will your ex-wife be there? Preston waved a hand dismissively. Autumn, probably not. And if she is, so what? She can see that I'm happy, that leaving her was the right choice. Vanessa hesitated. Don't you feel bad about how things ended? Why would I feel bad? The marriage wasn't working. I did what was necessary. But you told me she couldn't have children. That must have been hard for her. Preston had told the lie so many times, he believed it himself now. It was hard. But some people aren't meant to be parents. She's probably better off alone. The reunion was scheduled for November 15th. Preston bought a new suit, custom tailored, made Vanessa an appointment at a high-end maternity boutique. Price didn't matter. They'd look perfect. The morning of the reunion, Preston stood in front of the mirror, adjusting his tie. Italian silk. The watch on his wrist cost more than Autumn's monthly rent, though he didn't know that. Ready? Vanessa appeared in a flowing designer maternity dress. Navy blue. Elegant. You look beautiful. I feel like a whale. Preston kissed her forehead. You're carrying our son. You've never looked better. They drove to Evanston in Preston's BMW. Vanessa scrolled through her phone while Preston mentally prepared his reunion speech. How to tell people about his success without seeming like he was bragging. How to mention Autumn without sounding bitter. How to paint himself as the victor in their failed marriage. At the Alumni Center, they walked in together. Preston's hand on Vanessa's lower back. Possessive. Proud. The ballroom was exactly as he remembered. High ceilings. Chandeliers. Northwestern purple and white everywhere. People recognized him immediately. Old friends. Classmates. Professors. Preston Calloway. Man, how have you been? Preston, you look great. What are you doing now? Is this your wife? Preston fell into his role easily. Charming. Successful. Happy. This is my fiancée, Vanessa. We're getting married after our son is born. Director of Client Relations at Hartman and Associates. Living in the Gold Coast. Couldn't be happier. People gathered around. Impressed. Envious. Exactly what Preston wanted. That's when Rebecca Harrison, his old study partner, asked the question. Whatever happened to Autumn? You guys got divorced, right? Preston's expression turned sympathetic. Practiced. Yeah, unfortunately. The marriage just didn't work out. That's too bad. She was sweet. Preston leaned in. Confidential tone. Can I be honest? Autumn couldn't have children. We tried for years. She just wasn't able to conceive. It was really hard on both of us, but I had to accept that I wanted kids and she couldn't give me that. The group murmured sympathetically. That must have been difficult. So sad for her. But you found Vanessa, and look, you're about to be a dad. Preston put his hand on Vanessa's belly. Exactly. Sometimes things don't work out for a reason. I had to let go of that first marriage to find real happiness, to find someone who could actually give me the family I always wanted. He didn't see Vanessa's slight wince at his words. The implication that his happiness depended on her fertility. The subtle cruelty in comparing her to Autumn. More people gathered. Preston was holding court now, center of attention, telling his story. The victim of an infertile wife. A success story who moved on and found better. He was mid-sentence, saying something about how grateful he was for Vanessa when the room started getting quiet. It happened gradually, like a wave moving through the crowd. Conversations stopping, heads turning. Preston noticed Trevor looking toward the entrance. Then Rebecca, then others. What's going on? Preston asked. No one answered. They were all staring at the doors. Preston turned around, and his entire world shattered. Autumn stood in the entrance. She wore a simple navy dress, nothing expensive. Her hair pulled back. She looked older, tired, but her eyes were clear and steady. That wasn't what made Preston's blood run cold. It was the 4 boys standing beside her. 4 identical boys, all wearing matching navy sweaters, all with sandy blonde hair, all with hazel eyes, all with Preston's face. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. His brain couldn't process what he was seeing. Autumn's voice cut through the silence. "Sorry we're late, everyone. The boys wanted to see where their daddy and I first met." The ballroom went completely silent. Even the jazz band seemed to stop. 200 pairs of eyes moved from Autumn to the boys to Preston. Preston's face drained of all color. Vanessa grabbed his arm. "Preston? Who is that?" He couldn't answer. He was staring at the 4 boys. They were maybe 8 or 9 years old, identical, quadruplets, and they looked exactly like him. A woman near Preston, Harper Richardson, stepped forward. Preston recognized her as Autumn's best friend. "Everyone, these are Autumn's sons, Benjamin, Bradley, Brandon, and Brooks. They're 9 years old. Isn't that interesting?" Born about 6 months after Preston filed for divorce. The math was simple. Everyone in the room could do it. These boys had been conceived while Preston and Autumn were still married. These boys existed. 4 of them. Rebecca pulled out her phone, started comparing old college photos of Preston to the boys' faces. Her expression changed from confusion to shock. "Preston, these boys look exactly like you. Exactly." Trevor stepped closer, stared at the quadruplets. "Man, there's no question. These are your kids." Vanessa's hand dropped from Preston's arm. She took a step back, looking at him with dawning horror. "You said she couldn't have children." Preston finally found his voice. Shaky, defensive. "I didn't know. She never told me she was pregnant." Autumn's expression didn't change. She stood calm, collected. "I tried to tell you, Preston." "No, you didn't. I called your office 17 times. You refused my calls." "That's not—" "I sent 12 emails. You blocked my address." Preston's face was red now. "If you were really pregnant, you should have tried harder." Autumn's friend Harper spoke up again. "She came to your apartment building. You threatened a restraining order. She came to Hartman and Associates. Security escorted her out. What exactly should she have done differently?" The crowd murmured, whispers spreading. Dean Morrison from the business school pushed forward. She looked at the boys, then at Preston. "Mr. Calloway, are these your children?" "I don't know. I mean, she says they are, but—" "Look at them," someone in the crowd called out. "They're identical to you." Vanessa's voice shook. "Preston, you told me your ex-wife was infertile. I thought she was—" "You thought? Or you lied?" The crowd was turning now. Preston felt it, the sympathy shifting from him to Autumn, the narrative changing. "This is ridiculous," Preston said, voice rising. "You can't just show up here with these kids and what?" Autumn's voice stayed calm. "Tell the truth." "That's all I'm doing, Preston. Telling the truth you've been hiding for 9 years. I wasn't hiding anything. I didn't know about them." Harper pulled out her phone, started showing people photos. "This is Autumn at 6 months pregnant with quadruplets. This is the boys in the NICU, their birth certificates, all listing Preston Calloway as the father." The evidence was undeniable. Visual proof, documentation, and most damning of all, 4 boys with Preston's exact face standing there as living testimony. Vanessa started crying, her hands shaking. An older woman put an arm around her shoulders. "Honey, are you okay? Do you need to sit down?" Vanessa shook her head, looked at Preston through her tears. "You lied to me about everything." "Vanessa, please, I can explain." "Explain what? That you abandoned 4 children? That you told everyone your ex-wife was infertile when she was carrying your quadruplets? That every word you said was a lie?" Preston reached for her. She pulled away. "Don't touch me." The smallest boy, Brooks, tugged on Autumn's dress. "Mama, why is everyone yelling?" Autumn knelt beside her sons. Gentle voice. "It's okay, sweetheart. Everything's okay." The tenderness in her voice. The protective way she gathered her boys close. It was clear to everyone watching who the parent was, who'd done the work, who'd shown up. Preston stood there, his perfect image crumbling, his fiancée crying, his lies exposed, his former friends looking at him with disgust. Vanessa spoke again, voice stronger now, angry. "I'm leaving. Don't follow me. Don't call me. We're done." She turned toward the exit. 3 women from the crowd immediately went with her. supporting her, getting her away from Preston. Preston tried to follow. "Vanessa, wait." Trevor blocked his path. "Let her go, man. Get out of my way." "No. You've done enough damage." Rebecca spoke up. "Preston, I think you should leave." Others joined in. "You lied to all of us. You abandoned your kids. You're not welcome here." Dean Morrison's voice cut through. Authoritative. Final. "Mr. Calloway, I believe it's best if you leave. Now." Preston looked around. Every face turned against him. Former friends, colleagues, professors, all seeing him clearly for the first time. And in the middle of it all, Autumn stood with their 4 sons. Calm, dignified, victorious without saying a word. Preston pushed through the crowd. People moved aside, creating a path to the door. No one tried to stop him. No one said goodbye. He left the ballroom alone. The door closed behind him with a soft click. For a moment, the room stayed silent. Then everyone started talking at once. Autumn stood surrounded by her sons as people approached. Cautious, apologetic. Rebecca hugged her. "Autumn, I'm so sorry. We all believed him. We should have questioned his story. It's not your fault." He was convincing. Others came forward, offering apologies, asking about the boys, wanting to understand. Harper stood beside Autumn, her phone out, recording everything. Her husband Zachary had been filming since they walked in. Every moment captured, every word documented. "I'm posting this," Harper said quietly to Autumn. "People need to see what he did." Autumn hesitated. "Harper, I don't know if I want this public. You're not doing this for revenge. You're doing this for truth, and for every other woman whose ex-partner lied about them. This is bigger than just you." Dean Morrison knelt down to the boy's level. She smiled warmly. "You 4 are very handsome young men. What are your names?" Benjamin stepped forward first, always the leader. "I'm Benjamin. That's Bradley, that's Brandon, and that's Brooks. It's lovely to meet you all. Your mother has done an excellent job raising you." "Mama's the best," Brooks said with his characteristic grin. "She works really hard." The crowd was charmed. These boys were polite, sweet, well-adjusted, everything Preston had missed out on. A tall man with graying hair pushed through the crowd. Trevor Martinez. He'd been Preston's roommate junior year. "Autumn, I owe you an apology. Preston told me you were the reason the marriage failed. I believed him. I'm sorry." "Thank you, Trevor. I appreciate that." "Those boys," Trevor looked at Benjamin, Bradley, Brandon, and Brooks. "They're clearly Preston's. Anyone with eyes can see it." "How did you manage quadruplets alone?" Autumn's voice stayed steady. "My mother helped. My best friend Harper. We survived day by day." Rebecca wiped her eyes. "And Preston just abandoned you? Knowing you were pregnant?" "He didn't know about the pregnancy initially, but I tried everything to tell him. He made himself unreachable." "That's not an excuse," someone from the crowd said. "He should have answered your calls." Harper stepped forward, her phone still recording. "I witnessed most of it. I was there when Autumn tried to reach Preston. He blocked her everywhere, threatened legal action, refused all contact." The crowd's anger toward Preston grew. Murmurs of disgust, shaking heads. A woman in her 50s approached, Professor Linda Hayes from the marketing department. "Autumn, I remember you from my class. You were brilliant. What are you doing now?" "I'm a graphic designer, freelance work mostly, and I teach my boys to work hard and be kind." The contrast was stark. Preston with his expensive suit and corporate title. Autumn with her modest dress and actual substance. Benjamin tugged on Autumn's hand. "Mama, I'm hungry." Autumn smiled down at her son. "I know, sweetheart. We'll get food soon." Dean Morrison gestured toward the catering tables. "Please, help yourselves, all of you." Harper went with the boys to get food while Autumn stayed to answer questions. The alumni were genuinely interested now. How did she carry quadruplets? What was the delivery like? How did she afford everything? Autumn answered honestly. The struggle, the fear, the NICU, her mother's sacrifices, the government assistance she'd needed, the slow building of her business. She didn't hide the hard parts, didn't pretend it was easy. Her honesty made her story more powerful. Meanwhile, Harper was uploading the video to Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. She'd edited it quickly on her phone. The key moments, Preston's face when he saw the boys. His lies being exposed. Vanessa leaving in tears. The undeniable resemblance between Preston and his sons. The caption read, Preston Calloway claimed his ex-wife was infertile, and that's why their marriage failed. Here's the truth. 4 sons he abandoned. Share this so everyone knows what kind of man he really is. She tagged Preston, tagged Northwestern, tagged Hartman and Associates, made sure it would spread. Zachary showed Autumn the post. It's already getting traction. 500 views in 10 minutes. Autumn felt uneasy. This is going to explode, isn't it? Probably, Zachary said gently. Are you ready for that? I don't know. I just wanted people at this reunion to know the truth. I didn't think about it going viral. Harper squeezed her hand. Whatever happens, we're with you. And you did nothing wrong. You told the truth. The boys came back with plates of appetizers. They sat on chairs someone had arranged for them, eating chicken skewers and fruit. People kept approaching, taking photos with Autumn's permission. The boys handled the attention well. They were used to people staring. Identical quadruplets attracted attention everywhere they went. Around 8:30, Autumn decided it was time to leave. The boys were getting tired. Brooks was yawning. Brandon's eyes were drooping. We should head home. It's past their bedtime. Rebecca hugged her goodbye. Please stay in touch. I mean it. I'd love to get to know you and the boys. Others echoed the sentiment. Email addresses exchanged. Phone numbers given. Promises to connect. Dean Morrison pulled Autumn aside. I don't know what your current work situation is, but Northwestern is always looking for talented designers. If you're interested, I can connect you with our Alumni Relations Department. Autumn's heart skipped. Really? Really? Send me your portfolio. Let's talk. Trevor walked Autumn and the boys to their car. Ruth's old minivan parked in the lot. Those are good kids, Trevor said. Preston's an idiot for missing out. Thank you. And Autumn. I'm going to make sure everyone knows the truth. Preston won't be able to lie anymore. Autumn buckled each boy into their car seat. They were already half asleep. The drive back to Madison would take 3 hours. She'd probably have to carry them inside when they got home. Harper and Zachary followed in their car, escort and support. As Autumn drove out of the parking lot, she looked back at the Alumni Center one more time. The building where her truth had finally been told. She didn't feel victorious. She felt tired, relieved, scared of what came next. But mostly, she felt free. At the same time, across town, Preston sat in his BMW in a grocery store parking lot. He'd driven aimlessly for an hour after leaving the reunion. His hands shook on the steering wheel. 4 sons. He had 4 sons. Quadruplets, 9 years old. And they looked exactly like him. There was no denying it. No questioning paternity. Those boys were his. Autumn had tried to tell him. He remembered now. The voicemails he'd deleted without listening. The emails he'd blocked. The time she'd come to his building and he'd threatened a restraining order. He'd been so angry at her, so ready to move on. He'd convinced himself she was trying to manipulate him, trying to keep him from his new life. It never occurred to him she was trying to tell him something important. Preston pulled out his phone, searched his name on social media. His heart sank. The video was everywhere. Posted 30 minutes ago and already had 50,000 views. The comments were brutal. What kind of monster abandons quadruplets? He told everyone she was infertile, but she has 4 kids. The lies. Those boys look exactly like him. There's no denying they're his. I hope his fiancée leaves him. He doesn't deserve her. Someone should send this to his employer. This man has no character. Preston's phone started buzzing. Texts from friends at the reunion. Trevor, man, what the hell? You have 4 kids? Rebecca, you lied to all of us, Preston. I can't believe it. His father, Robert, call me immediately. What is going on? Preston couldn't call anyone. What would he say? How could he explain? He drove to Vanessa's apartment. Their apartment. He had a key, but when he tried it, the lock didn't work. She'd already changed it. He knocked. Vanessa, please. Let me explain. No answer. Vanessa, I know you're angry, but we need to talk. The door opened, but it wasn't Vanessa. It was her mother, Carol, who must have driven in from Connecticut. Carol's expression was ice cold. She doesn't want to see you. Mrs. Torres, please. I need to talk to her. You need to leave. Now. Before I call the police, I just want 5 minutes. You have 4 children you abandoned. You lied to my daughter about everything. You don't deserve 5 seconds. Carol slammed the door. Preston stood in the hallway. His perfect life was disintegrating. In one night, one moment, all because Autumn showed up with those boys. He drove to his parents' house in Oak Park. It was 10:30 at night, but the lights were on. They were waiting. Diane opened the door. Her face was tight, disappointed. Preston, Mom. Robert appeared behind her. Get inside. Preston followed them to the living room. Felt like a child about to be scolded. Explain, Robert said. We saw the video. Everyone we know has seen the video. What the hell happened? Preston sat on the couch, put his head in his hands. I didn't know she was pregnant. That's what you said in the video. But did you refuse her calls? Silence. Preston, answer me. Did you block Autumn after you left? Yes. Diane made a sound. Pain and disappointment mixed. Why would you do that? She asked. I wanted a clean break. I didn't want her dragging things out. She tried to tell you she was pregnant, and you blocked her? Robert's voice rose. What kind of man does that? I didn't know that's what she wanted to tell me. You didn't give her a chance to tell you anything. Preston looked up. She could have tried harder. She came to your building. You threatened a restraining order. How do you know that? It's in the video, Preston. Everything's in the video. Her friend Harper documented every attempt Autumn made to reach you. Diane sat down. She pulled out her phone, showed Preston the Facebook post. 80,000 views now. Comments pouring in. All negative. All condemning. Those boys, Diane said quietly. They look exactly like you when you were young. Preston looked at the still frame Harper had posted. 4 identical boys in navy sweaters. His face 4 times over. I know. You have 4 sons. Diane's voice cracked. I have 4 grandsons I've never met. Because of you. Mom, I didn't know. You didn't know because you didn't want to know. You blocked Autumn out completely. You made yourself unreachable. And now those boys have grown up without a father. Robert stood by the fireplace, arms crossed. This is going to destroy your career. What? That video is viral. Your name is attached to it. Your company is tagged. How long do you think Hartman and Associates will keep you employed when their director is known for abandoning quadruplets? Preston hadn't thought of that. They can't fire me for something in my personal life. They can fire you for character issues, for bringing negative attention to the firm, for lying. The word hung heavy. Lying. You told everyone Autumn was infertile, Diane said. You built your entire narrative on that lie. You told us, you told Vanessa, you told your friends, and it was all false. I thought she couldn't have kids. We tried for 2 years. You tried for 6 months, Preston. Then you had an affair and left. Robert's phone buzzed. He looked at it. His expression darkened. Your boss just emailed me. Apparently you're not answering your phone. He wants to see you first thing Monday morning. Preston's phone was off. He'd turned it off after the 50th notification. He couldn't handle the messages. The comments. The judgment. What am I supposed to do? Preston asked. You're supposed to take responsibility, Robert said firmly. You're supposed to reach out to Autumn and apologize. You're supposed to meet your sons and start paying child support. Child support? For 9 years? Yes. You owe her 9 years of support, plus ongoing payments. That's your legal and moral obligation. Preston did quick math in his head. 4 kids. 9 years. Thousands per month. The number was staggering. I can't afford that. You'll have to figure it out. Those boys are yours. You have responsibilities. Diane stood, walked to where Preston sat, looked down at him. I raised you better than this. Your father and I taught you integrity, honesty, responsibility. I don't know what happened to that boy. Mom, I want to meet my grandsons. I'm going to find Autumn and ask her permission. And if she says no, I'll understand completely. Because you destroyed any goodwill she might have had toward this family. Diane left the room. Preston heard her footsteps on the stairs. Going to bed. Washing her hands of him. Robert stayed. Looked at his son with something close to disgust. You better hope you still have a job on Monday. And you better get a lawyer, because Autumn is well within her rights to sue you for every penny you owe. Preston spent the weekend in a hotel. He couldn't go home to the apartment he'd shared with Vanessa. Couldn't face his parents again. Couldn't stand the thought of anyone seeing him. The video kept spreading. By Sunday morning, it had 2 million views. News outlets were picking it up. Local Chicago news ran a story. Marketing executive exposed for abandoning quadruplets. His name was everywhere. His face. Screenshots from the video showing his shock when he saw the boys. Vanessa crying. The whole humiliating scene documented and shared. Preston's social media was flooded. Strangers calling him a deadbeat, a liar, a coward. People tagging Hartman and associates demanding they fire him. Sunday evening, Preston got an email from HR. Please report to the office Monday at 8 a.m. Bring your badge and laptop. He knew what that meant. Termination. Monday morning, Preston put on a suit, drove to the office, took the elevator to the 23rd floor. The receptionist wouldn't make eye contact. They're waiting for you in conference room B. Frank Hartman himself was there, the founder, along with the head of HR and Preston's direct supervisor. Sit down, Preston. He sat. Frank pushed a folder across the table. This is your severance package. You're being let go effective immediately. You're firing me because of a video? We're firing you because you bring discredit to this firm. Our clients have been calling. They don't want to work with someone who abandoned 4 children. Our employees are uncomfortable. This is a character issue. My personal life has nothing to do with my job performance. Your personal life became public, and it reflects on us. We can't have a director who's known for this level of deception and abandonment. The HR director spoke. You'll receive 2 months severance. Your health insurance ends at the end of the month. Please clean out your desk and surrender your badge and laptop. Just like that. 7 years at the firm. Gone. Security escorted Preston to his office. His corner office with the skyline views. He packed his belongings into a cardboard box while colleagues watched from their cubicles. Nobody said goodbye. Nobody offered sympathy. He was walked out of the building at 9:15 in the morning, standing on the sidewalk with his box of belongings. Unemployed. His phone rang. The BMW leasing company. Mr. Calloway, we need to discuss your payment. It's 15 days overdue. Preston had forgotten to pay the lease. Too distracted by everything else. I'll send payment today. We need it by end of business or we'll be forced to repossess the vehicle. Preston couldn't make the payment. His severance would help, but his savings were depleted. He'd been living beyond his means. Expensive apartment, expensive lifestyle, no cushion. Can I return the car voluntarily? Yes, sir. Where would you like us to pick it up? Preston gave them the address of his hotel. By that evening, his BMW was gone. He took an Uber to look at cheaper apartments. His Gold Coast place cost $4,000 a month. He couldn't afford that anymore. He found a 1-bedroom in a rough neighborhood on the south side. $600 a month. Tiny, outdated, bars on the windows, but it was all he could afford. He moved in 3 days later. Everything he owned fit in that 1-bedroom. The furniture from his luxury apartment sold to pay bills. Preston Calloway had gone from corner office to unemployment, from BMW to bus pass, from Gold Coast to the projects, in 1 week, because of one video, because of truth. Meanwhile, Autumn's life was transforming in the opposite direction. The video hit 3 million views by Wednesday. With it came an outpouring of support. Women sharing their own stories of abandonment, single mothers saying they felt seen, people offering help. Someone set up a GoFundMe without asking Autumn first. Help Autumn and her quadruplets. The goal was $10,000. By the end of the week, it had raised $60,000. Autumn cried when she saw it. I can't accept this. I didn't do this for money. Harper sat with her at Ruth's kitchen table. You didn't ask for it. People want to help. They see what you've survived. Let them. It feels wrong. What's wrong is you struggling for 9 years while Preston lived in luxury. This is people trying to balance the scales. Ruth agreed. Take the money, sweetheart. Put it toward the boys' future. College funds, a bigger place to live. You've earned this. Autumn set up college savings accounts. $5,000 for each boy. The rest would help with moving expenses and bills. Because she'd gotten a call from Dean Morrison. Autumn, I spoke with our alumni relations department. We'd like to offer you a position. Lead graphic designer, full-time. Salary is $75,000 plus full benefits. And as a university employee, your sons would qualify for free tuition when they're old enough. $75,000. Autumn had never made more than $30,000 in her best year of freelancing. Are you serious? Completely. We need someone talented and we want to support you. Your story has resonated with our community. We'd be honored to have you. Autumn accepted. Started in 2 weeks, which meant moving back to Evanston. With the GoFundMe money and her new salary, she could afford a real place. 3 bedrooms, safe neighborhood, near good schools. She found a house to rent. Small but perfect, backyard for the boys to play. Their own rooms finally. Ruth decided to move too, to a senior community near Evanston, close enough to help with the boys but with her own space and independence. Everything was falling into place, not because of revenge, not because of vindictiveness, just because truth had a way of bringing justice. Harper helped Autumn pack. The boys were excited about moving. Will we have our own rooms? Bradley asked. Yes, sweetheart. Each of you gets your own room. Brooks cheered. Finally. Benjamin snores. I do not, Benjamin protested. Brandon was quiet, the sensitive one. Mama, will our dad visit us in the new house? Autumn knelt beside him. I don't know, honey. Your father and I aren't speaking right now because he was mean to you. Because things are complicated. The people at the reunion said he lied about you. Autumn chose her words carefully. Your father told people things that weren't true, but what matters is we have each other, and we have people who love us. Brooks hugged her. We love you, Mama. I love you boys more than anything. Before they moved, Autumn received a call from an unknown number. Hello? Autumn, this is Diane Calloway, Preston's mother. Autumn's grip tightened on the phone. Mrs. Calloway, I saw the video. I saw those beautiful boys, and I'm calling to apologize. Autumn hadn't expected that. 9 years ago, you called us. You tried to tell us you were pregnant. Robert dismissed you. I should have called back. I should have listened. I'm so sorry. Thank you for saying that. Autumn, I know I have no right to ask, but would you let me meet my grandsons, just once? Autumn thought about it. These were her son's grandparents. They deserved to know their family. Once, Autumn said. We'll meet in a public place, you and your husband. No, Preston. Thank you. Thank you so much. They met at a park in Madison the following Saturday. Diane and Robert arrived nervous. They saw the boys playing on the playground, and Diane started crying. They looked just like Preston when he was young. The boys came over when Autumn called them. Boys, these are your grandparents, your dad's parents. Grandma Diane and Grandpa Robert. Benjamin, always cautious, asked, Are you nice? Diane laughed through tears. We try to be. Do you have cookies? Brooks asked. Robert smiled. Not today, but I can bring some next time if your mother says it's okay. They spent an hour together. The boys warmed up slowly. Diane asked them about school, about soccer, about their favorite things. She was genuinely interested. Kind. When it was time to go, Diane hugged Autumn. You've done an amazing job with them. They're wonderful. Thank you. Can we see them again? Autumn considered. These people had rejected her 9 years ago, but they seemed genuinely remorseful, and the boys deserved grandparents. Once a month. We can arrange visits. Diane's face lit up. Really? Really? But if Preston tries to use you to contact me, the visits stop. Understood. This is about the boys, not Preston. Autumn never told Preston about the visits. He had no right to that information. He'd given up his rights when he blocked her calls. The move to Evanston happened in late December. Perfect timing for the boys to start at their new school after winter break. Christmas in the new house was magical. Ruth came over. Harper and her family. Diane and Robert brought gifts for the boys, spoiling them appropriately. The boys ran through their new house, excited about everything. Their own rooms, the backyard, the neighborhood with other kids. Autumn watched them and felt overwhelming gratitude. A year ago, she was struggling in Madison, working constantly, barely making rent. Now she had a real job, a real home, support, all because she'd walked into that reunion and told the truth. On New Year's Eve, Autumn tucked the boys into their new beds, each room decorated how they wanted. Benjamin's room had posters of scientists and astronauts. Bradley's had sports equipment and trophies. Brandon's walls were covered in his artwork. Brooks had posters of comedians and funny quotes. Mama, Benjamin said as she kissed him goodnight, this was the best year. Was it? We have a house, and our own rooms, and Grandma Diane and Grandpa Robert. And you're happy? Autumn's eyes filled with tears. I am happy. Are you boys happy? Very happy, they said in unison. After they were asleep, Autumn sat in her new living room. Ruth had gone home. The house was quiet. Her phone buzzed. A message from Dean Morrison. Just wanted to check that you're all settled. Looking forward to having you start next week. And Autumn, you should know the university is very proud to have you. Your resilience is inspiring. Autumn smiled. Typed back, thank you. I'm grateful for this opportunity. She thought about Preston, wondered how he was doing, if he was okay, if he thought about the boys. Then she pushed those thoughts away. Preston made his choices. She'd made hers. And her choices led to this moment, this house, these boys, this life. Meanwhile, Preston was working the night shift at a 24-hour grocery store, stocking shelves for $12 an hour. It was the only job he could get. Every other application was rejected once they Googled his name. The video came up immediately. No one wanted to hire the man who abandoned quadruplets. So here he was, 35 years old, wearing a vest with a name tag, moving boxes from the back room to the shelves. His coworkers were mostly teenagers and people who'd fallen on hard times. No one here knew who he was. No one had seen the video. It was the only place Preston felt anonymous. He worked 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., slept during the day in his tiny apartment, ate ramen and cheap frozen dinners, rode the bus because he had no car. His parents had offered to help financially. He'd refused. Pride, or maybe shame. He didn't know anymore. Vanessa had the baby in January, a healthy boy. She named him Lucas, gave him her last name, blocked Preston from everything. He found out through social media, saw the birth announcement, the photos, his son, another son he'd never meet. Preston had tried to reach out, through lawyers, asking for visitation, for a chance to be involved. Vanessa's lawyer sent back a firm response. Miss Torres wants no contact with Mr. Calloway. He has no parental rights unless he petitions the court. And given his history, we will fight any such petition. So Preston was alone. 4 sons in Evanston he'd abandoned. 1 son in Connecticut he'd never know. 5 children total, all strangers to him. One night in February, Preston was stocking canned goods when he saw a woman shopping with a young boy. The boy was maybe 9 or 10. Sandy blonde hair, hazel eyes. Preston froze. Was that one of his sons? The woman looked familiar. Older, gray hair. Ruth, Autumn's mother, and the boy had to be Benjamin, Bradley, Brandon, or Brooks. Preston watched from behind his shelf. The boy was laughing at something Ruth said. His smile was bright, happy. He looked healthy, loved, well cared for. Preston wanted to approach, wanted to say something. I'm your father. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. But his feet wouldn't move. What right did he have? He'd abandoned this boy before he was born. Refused to hear about him. Blocked all contact. This boy had grown up without him. Had a whole life Preston knew nothing about. The boy and Ruth walked to the checkout, left the store. Preston stood there holding a can of tomatoes, watching them go. He'd seen his son, one of his sons, for the first time in person. And the boy had no idea who Preston was. That night, Preston went home to his apartment and finally allowed himself to feel it all. The regret, the loss, the consequences of his choices. He cried for the first time since the reunion. Cried for what he'd destroyed, what he'd missed, what he'd never get back. Some mistakes couldn't be fixed. Some bridges, once burned, couldn't be rebuilt. Now I need you to understand something important, because this story isn't just about Preston and Autumn. It's about truth and lies. It's about consequences and redemption. It's about the price we pay for our choices. If you're still watching, if this story has touched you in any way, I need you to hit that like button right now, because stories like this need to be shared. Truth needs to be told. And subscribe to Love and Twilights with Dr. Phillips, because every week we bring you stories that matter. Stories about real people facing real consequences. Stories that teach us about character and integrity. Comment below and tell me, do you think Preston deserved what happened to him? Or should Autumn have handled it differently? I read every single comment. Now let me tell you what happened over the next 3 years, because this story doesn't end at the reunion. It's just beginning. Autumn thrived at Northwestern. Her designs for the alumni magazine won awards. Her work with the development office brought in record donations. She was good at her job, and people recognized it. The boys excelled at their new school. All four were honor students. Benjamin joined the debate team. Bradley made the varsity soccer team as a sixth grader. Brandon's artwork was displayed in a local gallery. Brooks performed in the school play and brought down the house. They were growing into remarkable young people. Kind, hardworking, funny. Everything Preston had missed helping create. Ruth lived nearby and picked the boys up from school every day. They'd do homework at her place, then Autumn would pick them up after work. The routine was smooth, stable, happy. Diane and Robert visited once a month, always respectful of Autumn's boundaries, never mentioning Preston unless the boys asked. And sometimes the boys did ask, "Does our dad ever want to see us?" Bradley asked one day. Diane's expression was pained. "I don't know, sweetheart. Your father is going through a difficult time right now." "Is he sad?" Brandon, the sensitive one, looked worried. "I think he is. But that's not your responsibility. None of this is your fault." The boys seemed to accept that. They had Autumn. They had Ruth. They had Harper's family. They had Diane and Robert. They had enough love. Meanwhile, Preston's life remained stuck. Still working nights at the grocery store. Still living in the tiny apartment. Still alone. He tried to reach out to Autumn through her lawyer, requesting visitation rights. The lawyer, Patricia Weaver, sent back terms. Mr. Calloway must pay the full amount of back child support, $77,000. He must complete court-ordered parenting classes. He must attend family therapy. Only after these requirements are met will we consider supervised visitation. Preston couldn't afford any of it. $77,000 was impossible on his grocery store salary. The parenting classes cost $2,000. Therapy was $100 per session. He was trapped in a catch-22. He couldn't see his kids without meeting the requirements. But he couldn't meet the requirements without money he didn't have. He tried to find better employment, applied to dozens of marketing firms, used his 7 years of experience at Hartman and Associates. But every interview went the same way. "Mr. Calloway, your resume is impressive. But when we searched your name, a video came up. Can you explain that?" What could he say? He tried honesty. "That's a personal matter from my past. It doesn't affect my professional capabilities. We're concerned about character issues. The video shows you abandoned 4 children. That raises questions about integrity. No one would hire him." The video had 5 million views now. It would never go away. It was permanently attached to his name. In year 2 after the reunion, Preston gave up trying for white-collar work. He took on a second job, weekends at a warehouse, loading trucks, physical labor. Between the 2 jobs, he worked 70 hours a week, made just enough to pay rent, buy food, and start slowly saving toward the child support debt. He had no social life, no friends, no family who wanted to see him regularly. His parents called occasionally, told him about the boys, how well they were doing, how happy they were. Each update was a knife to Preston's heart. Benjamin is captain of the debate team. Bradley scored 3 goals in his soccer game. Brandon's painting won first place in a citywide art contest. Brooks had the whole auditorium laughing in the school play. Preston had missed all of it. Every milestone, every achievement, every moment of their lives. In year 3, Vanessa reached out once. A single email. "Preston, I'm writing to let you know Lucas is doing well. He's 2 now, walking, talking, everything on schedule. I don't hate you anymore. I've moved past that, but I won't allow you in his life. You abandoned 4 children. I won't let you do that to a 5th. I hope you've learned from your mistakes. I hope you're working on becoming a better person. But that work doesn't include my son. Goodbye, Preston." It was a door closing, final and complete. Preston had 5 sons total, and he'd never be a father to any of them. One Saturday afternoon, Preston was walking to the bus stop after his warehouse shift. He passed a park, heard children laughing. 4 boys were playing soccer, identical faces, about 12 years old now. Preston stopped, stared. Benjamin, Bradley, Brandon, and Brooks. They were taller now, faces losing the baby softness, becoming young men, but still unmistakably his children. Autumn sat on a bench watching them, Harper beside her. They were laughing about something. Preston stood behind a tree, watching, hidden. The boys played with such joy, such freedom. Benjamin passed the ball to Bradley. Brooks tried to steal it and failed spectacularly, then laughed at himself. Brandon was drawing in a sketchbook instead of playing, but his brothers didn't mind. They were a unit, complete without Preston. They didn't need him. They'd never needed him. Autumn looked happy, relaxed. She wore jeans and a Northwestern sweatshirt. Her hair was longer now. She smiled easily. She'd survived his abandonment, thrived even. Preston felt like a ghost, watching a life that should have been his but never would be. He turned and walked away before anyone saw him, got on the bus, went back to his empty apartment. That night, Preston did something he should have done years ago. He wrote a letter. Dear Autumn, I know I have no right to contact you. I know my lawyer was told to communicate only through your lawyer, but I need to say this directly. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for leaving you. I'm sorry for blocking your calls. I'm sorry for refusing to listen when you tried to tell me you were pregnant. I'm sorry for abandoning our sons. I'm sorry for lying about you to everyone. I'm sorry for everything. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I need you to know that I understand now what I destroyed. I see what I gave up. I'm not asking for visitation. I'm not asking for anything. I just needed you to know that you were right and I was wrong. You're an amazing mother. Our boys are incredible because of you. Everything good in their lives is because you didn't give up. I gave up. I walked away. I chose lies over truth. And I'm paying for that every single day. I hope you're happy. I hope the boys are happy. They deserve happiness. You deserve happiness. I'm sorry I never gave you that. Preston. He addressed it to her work, Northwestern University, Alumni Relations Department. He didn't mail it, because what would it accomplish? Autumn had moved on. The boys had moved on. His apology wouldn't change anything, wouldn't fix anything, wouldn't bring back 9 years. Some mistakes were permanent. Preston put the letter in a drawer, unsent, just words that needed to be written but not received. Meanwhile, Autumn was having a very different kind of evening. The boys had just turned 12. She'd thrown them a birthday party, combined party since they were all the same age. 20 kids from school came. The house was chaos. Pizza boxes everywhere, cake smeared on faces, laughter and music and joy. Harper helped clean up after everyone left. The boys were in the living room playing video games. They're so big now, Harper said, loading the dishwasher. I know. I can't believe they're 12. Have they asked about Preston lately? Autumn shook her head. Not in months. I think they've accepted he's not going to be part of their lives. Is that hard for them? Sometimes, especially Benjamin. He's the most logical. He wants to understand why his father doesn't want to know him. What do you tell him? The truth. That his father made choices that had consequences. That none of it is Benjamin's fault. That he has plenty of people who love him. Harper dried a plate. Do you ever think about reaching out to Preston, letting him meet them? Autumn considered. Sometimes. But then I remember how hard he made it for me to reach him, how he threatened me with legal action, how he lied about me for years. And I think, why should I make it easy for him now? You shouldn't. He doesn't deserve easy. But it's not about what he deserves. It's about what the boys need. And right now, they're okay. They're happy. They're thriving. Why disrupt that for someone who might hurt them again? Harper nodded. You're protecting them. I'm always protecting them. In the living room, the boys were arguing playfully about the video game. Benjamin, you're cheating. I'm not cheating. I'm just better than you. Mama, Benjamin's being mean, Brooks called out. Autumn smiled. Work it out yourselves, boys. They did. Within minutes, they were laughing again. The argument forgotten. This was her life now. Not perfect, but full, rich, real. Autumn didn't think about Preston often anymore. He was the past, a chapter closed. She was writing new chapters now, with her sons, with her career, with the life she'd built from nothing. On the boys' 13th birthday, Diane and Robert took them to a Chicago Bulls game. Special grandfather to grandson's outing. Afterward at dinner, Robert said something that surprised Autumn. We're setting up college funds for the boys, $10,000 each. We know you've saved for them, but we want to contribute. Autumn was stunned. Robert, that's too much. It's not enough. We missed 9 years of their lives. We can't get that time back. But we can't help secure their future. Diane added, please let us do this, for them, and for you. Autumn accepted. The boys would have secure futures. College paid for. Opportunities Preston never gave them. At 14, Benjamin asked the question Autumn had been dreading. Mom, I want to meet my dad. They were in the kitchen. Autumn was making dinner. Benjamin sat at the table doing homework. Why now? Autumn asked carefully. I just think I should know him, even if he's not a good person, even if he abandoned us. He's still my father. Autumn sat down across from him. Sweetheart, I understand that feeling, but your father hasn't tried to contact you in 14 years. He hasn't paid child support. He hasn't shown any interest in knowing you. Maybe he's scared. Maybe he thinks we hate him. Do you hate him? Benjamin thought about it. No, I don't know him enough to hate him, but I'm curious. Bradley overheard from the living room, came into the kitchen. I don't want to meet him. Brandon followed. Me neither. Brooks shrugged. I'm okay either way. 4 boys. 4 different opinions. Autumn made a decision. Benjamin, if you really want to meet him when you're 18, I'll help you, but not before. You need to be an adult to make that choice, old enough to handle whatever happens. Benjamin nodded. Okay, that's fair. The topic was dropped, but Autumn wondered if Preston even knew that one of his sons wanted to meet him someday. By the time the boys were 15, they were young men. Tall, handsome, still identical, but their personalities made them distinct. Benjamin was serious, studious, wanted to be a lawyer. Bradley was athletic, team captain in 3 sports, wanted to play soccer professionally. Brandon was artistic, quiet, creative, wanted to study art in college. Brooks was social, funny, popular, wanted to be an actor. 4 different paths, 4 different dreams, all supported by Autumn's endless love and sacrifice. Harper's daughter Emma was 10 now. She adored her cousins. The boys were protective of her, gentle. You're raising good men, Harper told Autumn one day. I'm trying. Preston has no idea what he's missing. His loss. And it truly was. Preston's life remained small, limited, defined by the consequences of his choices. At 40 years old, Preston still worked 2 jobs, still lived in the same tiny apartment, still rode the bus, still alone. The video was old news now. Most people had forgotten, but it still existed online, still came up when employers searched his name. He'd aged badly, hair thinning, weight gained, then lost, lines on his face. He looked 50. The vibrant, confident man from the reunion was gone, replaced by someone hollow, defeated. Preston had tried to date a few times, but every relationship ended the same way. I Googled you. That video came up. You abandoned 4 kids? It's complicated. No, it's not. You're not the kind of man I want in my life. So he stopped trying. His parents still saw him occasionally. Duty more than love. They'd chosen the boys over him, as they should have. How are Benjamin and the others? Preston would ask. They're wonderful. You should reach out to them. They don't want to hear from me. You don't know that. You've never tried. But Preston was too ashamed, too afraid of rejection, too aware that he'd forfeited any right to their lives. One day, Preston received a letter forwarded from his old address. Return address said Northwestern University. His hands shook opening it. It was from Benjamin, his son, his eldest by 4 minutes. Dear Preston, my name is Benjamin Hayes. I'm your son, one of 4. I'm writing because I turn 18 next year and I'd like to meet you. Not because I forgive you, not because I want a relationship necessarily, but because I think I deserve to know who you are. My mother said she'd help arrange a meeting if you're willing. This is your chance, maybe your only chance. If you want to meet me and my brothers, respond to this address. If not, I'll understand. But this is me trying, which is more than you ever did. Benjamin. Preston read the letter 10 times. His son wanted to meet him. This was his chance, maybe his only chance. Preston wrote back immediately. Benjamin, yes. Yes, I want to meet you, all of you, whenever you're ready, wherever you want. Thank you for reaching out. Thank you for giving me this chance I don't deserve. Dear Father. He mailed it that day. A week later, Autumn called Preston's number, the number she'd blocked 14 years ago. Preston answered on the first ring. Hello? Preston, this is Autumn. Silence. Then, Autumn. Benjamin contacted you. He did. I wrote back. I want to meet them. Autumn's voice was controlled. Careful. Let me be very clear. This meeting is for them, not you. If you hurt them, if you disappoint them, if you're anything less than respectful and honest, you'll never see them again. I understand. We'll meet in a public place, 1 hour. The boys can ask you questions. You'll answer honestly. Then we'll see if they want further contact. Okay. When? Saturday, 2 p.m., Millennium Park. By the Bean. I'll be there. Autumn hung up. Preston sat in his apartment, shaking. In 3 days he'd meet his sons. After 15 years, Saturday arrived cold and clear. Preston took the bus downtown, wore his best clothes, which weren't very good anymore, arrived 30 minutes early. At 2 p.m. exactly, he saw them. 4 teenage boys, identical, tall, maybe 6 feet. Autumn's auburn hair, his face. Autumn walked with them. Harper flanked the other side. Preston stood. His legs almost gave out. The boys stopped a few feet away, studying him. 4 sets of hazel eyes, evaluating, judging. Benjamin spoke first. You're Preston. I am. You're Benjamin. How do you know? You wrote to me, and you have my mother's eyes. Benjamin didn't smile. These are my brothers. Bradley, Brandon, Brooks. Preston looked at each one, tried to memorize their faces. It's nice to meet you all. Silence. Brooks, the comedian, said, This is super awkward. Despite everything, Preston laughed. It is. Autumn spoke. You have 1 hour. The boys have questions. Answer them honestly. Preston nodded. They sat on a bench, the boys across from Preston, Autumn and Harper standing nearby. Protective. Benjamin started. Why did you leave our mom? Preston had practiced this answer, decided on truth. I was selfish. I wanted children immediately and your mom wanted to wait. Instead of working through it, I had an affair and left. With Vanessa, Bradley said. He'd done research. Yes. Did you know Mom was pregnant when you left? No. She tried to tell me. I blocked her calls, refused to listen. I was cruel. Brandon asked quietly, Do you regret it? Preston looked at the sensitive boy, saw the hurt in his eyes. Every single day, every moment, I regret everything. Brooks asked, Why didn't you try to find us? In 15 years you never tried. I was ashamed, afraid. I convinced myself you were better off without me, but that was cowardice. Benjamin's voice was hard. You were right. We were better off. The words hurt, but they were true. I know. We didn't need you. We had Mom. We had Grandma Ruth. We had people who actually showed up. I know. So why should we have anything to do with you now? Preston looked at his eldest son, this brilliant, strong young man he'd never known. You shouldn't. I don't deserve it. But I'm here because you asked, and I'll answer any question you have. And if you never want to see me again after today, I'll understand. The boys asked more questions about his life, his work, his current situation. Preston answered honestly. The grocery store, the warehouse, the tiny apartment, the loneliness, the consequences. He didn't try to make himself look better, didn't make excuses. I destroyed my own life. I lost everything. My career, my fiancé, my son with Vanessa, you four, everything. I made terrible choices, and I'm paying for them. Bradley asked, Do you want to be in our lives now? Preston wanted to say yes, wanted to beg for another chance, but he looked at these 4 incredible boys, saw how complete they were without him. I want whatever you want. If you want me to disappear, I will. If you want occasional contact, I'll take it. If you want nothing, I understand. The boys looked at each other, some silent communication. Benjamin spoke. We'll think about it. We'll talk to Mom. We'll decide together. That's fair. The hour ended. The boys stood to leave. Preston stood too. Can I just say one more thing? They waited. You're all remarkable. Benjamin, your intelligence. Bradley, your athleticism. Brandon, your creativity. Brooks, your humor. Your mom raised you to be extraordinary people. I'm proud of you even though I have no right to be. Benjamin's expression softened slightly. Thanks. They walked away. Autumn looked back once, her expression unreadable. Preston sat back down on the bench. He'd met his sons. 15 years late, but he'd met them. 2 weeks later, Preston received another letter from Benjamin. We talked about it, all 4 of us and Mom. We decided we're okay with occasional contact, maybe once a month, coffee or something. No pressure, no expectations. We're not looking for a dad. We have what we need, but we're willing to know you as a person. If you can handle that, let us know. Preston could handle that. It was more than he deserved. Over the next year, Preston met his sons once a month. Coffee shops, parks, casual. They talked about school, sports, art, dreams. Preston listened more than he talked, learned who they were. Benjamin, driven and principled. Bradley, competitive but kind. Brandon, sensitive and talented. Brooks, funny and perceptive. They didn't call him Dad. They called him Preston, and that was okay. Slowly, carefully, a relationship formed. Not father-son, more like distant relatives getting to know each other. Preston never overstepped, never tried to parent, never tried to make up for lost time. He just showed up, consistently, every month, proving he could be reliable now, even if he wasn't then. The boys graduated high school. All 4 accepted to top universities. Benjamin to Yale for pre-law, Bradley to Stanford on a soccer scholarship, Brandon to RISD for art, Brooks to USC for theater. Preston attended their graduation, sat in the back, clapped when their names were called. Afterward, Benjamin approached him. "Thanks for coming. I wouldn't have missed it. We're going to college next month." "I know. I'm proud of you all." Benjamin hesitated. Then, "I'm glad we gave you a chance. You're not our dad. Mom's been both parents, but it's good to know you." Preston's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you. That means more than you know." They shook hands. Not a hug, but acknowledgement. After 15 years, Preston had a relationship with his sons. Small, limited, but real. It would never be what it should have been. He'd never walk them down the aisle at their weddings, never be called grandpa by their children, never have the deep bond that fathers and sons could have. But it was something, a small redemption in a life defined by mistakes. Autumn watched from across the parking lot, Harper beside her. "You okay?" Harper asked. "I am. The boys made their choice. I support it. He doesn't deserve them." "No, but they deserve the chance to know their biological father, even if he failed them. You're a better person than I am." Autumn smiled. "I'm just a mother who wants her sons to be whole." The boys came over. All 4 hugged Autumn. "We love you, Mom," they said in unison, like they used to when they were little. "I love you, boys. So proud of you." This was the ending. Not perfect, not tied up in a bow, but real. Preston had lost everything and gained back only a fraction. He lived with consequences, worked 2 jobs, lived modestly, alone. But once a month, he had coffee with his sons, and that kept him going. Autumn had built an extraordinary life from the ruins of abandonment, raised 4 exceptional young men, had a successful career, deep friendships, real love. She didn't need Preston's redemption. She'd already redeemed herself. The boys went off to college, thrived, became the men Autumn raised them to be. And sometimes, when people asked about their father, they had an honest answer. "We have a complicated relationship. He wasn't there when we were growing up. Our mom raised us, but we know him now. It's not perfect, but it's real. Truth, always truth. Because lies had destroyed one life and nearly destroyed another. But truth, painful as it was, had set everyone free." Preston never remarried, never had more children. The 5 sons he had, 4 he barely knew and 1 he'd never meet, were his legacy. At 50 years old, he still worked at the grocery store. Manager now, small promotion, still modest life. But he had his monthly coffee with whichever of the boys were home from college. And he had the knowledge that he'd faced his worst mistake and survived it. Some people get redemption arcs, full forgiveness, happy endings. Preston got accountability, consequences, and the smallest sliver of reconciliation. It was enough. It had to be. Autumn at 52 was the director of marketing at Northwestern. Her work was celebrated. Her sons were successful. Her life was full. She'd been on a few dates over the years. Nothing serious. She was content alone. Her greatest joy was watching her boys become men. seeing them make good choices, treat people with respect, work hard, love deeply. Everything Preston wasn't, they were, because she'd shown them how. And on the 20th anniversary of that reunion, Autumn received a letter from Preston. Dear Autumn, 20 years ago, you walked into a room and told the truth that destroyed my lies. I hated you for it then. I blamed you for everything. But now I understand you gave me the greatest gift anyone ever gave me. You gave me truth. You forced me to face who I really was, and while I lost everything, I also gained the chance to become someone better. I'll never be the man I should have been. I'll never have the relationship with our sons that I could have had. But because of you, I'm honest now. I'm accountable now. I'm real now. Thank you for not letting me get away with the lies. Thank you for fighting for our sons when I wouldn't. Thank you for being the parent I should have been. I hope you're happy. You deserve every good thing. Preston. Autumn read the letter once, then filed it away. She didn't need his gratitude, didn't need his acknowledgement. She'd done what she did for her sons, for truth, for herself, and that was enough. The real lesson of this story isn't about revenge. It's about consequences. It's about how lies always catch up to you. It's about how truth, no matter how painful, is always better than comfortable deception. It's about how one person's courage to speak truth can change everything. Preston Calloway lost his career, his fiancée, his reputation, and 15 years with his children because he chose lies over truth, because he valued image over integrity, because he abandoned responsibility. Autumn Hayes survived abandonment, raised quadruplets alone, built a successful career, and created an extraordinary life because she chose truth, because she valued her sons over comfort, because she showed up every single day. Their story became a cautionary tale, shared millions of times, taught in ethics classes, discussed in therapy sessions, not because it was unique. Plenty of people abandon their families, plenty of people lie, but because it was documented, because the moment of truth was captured on video, because the consequences were visible. If you've watched this entire story, if you've felt something, learned something, been changed by something, I need you to do 3 things. First, hit that like button. Let the algorithm know that stories of truth and consequences matter. Second, subscribe to Love and Twilights with Dr. Phillips, because every week we bring you stories that challenge you to think about your own choices, your own integrity, your own truth. Third, comment below. Tell me what lesson you're taking from Autumn and Preston's story. Tell me about a time you chose truth over lies. Tell me how this story affected you, because that's how we learn. That's how we grow. That's how we become better than we were. Preston's story is a tragedy, a man who had everything and lost it all through his own choices. Autumn's story is a triumph, a woman who had nothing and built everything through determination and truth. Both lived the consequences of their choices. Choose wisely. Choose truth. Choose to show up. Because 20 years from now, you'll be living with the choices you make today. Make them count. This is Love and Twilights with Dr. Phillips. Remember, your story is still being written. Make sure it's a story you'll be proud to tell. Until next time, choose love, choose truth, choose courage, and always, always show up for the people who need you. Because that's what real character looks like.